You already know what it is. It's birds of a feather. Little melancholy. I think I'm saying that right, tone. But intro is what it is. We about to run that. We're gonna get into it.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like or this thing he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Hey, what's going on, fam? It's Birds of a Feather, ladies and gentlemen, on A2D Radio. We are brought to you by FanUp, the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. Sign up today and use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, and that's a $50 value. It's your boy Chucks here, once again with your boy Pete. What's going on, man? What's going on,
Hey,
bro?
man. For me, and I can say for you, it's another beautiful day in paradise, and I don't feel like what we're seeing so far is surprising to us. And dare I say, I want to continue to see more.
We are one of the few, I guess you can say, that kind of are not surprised by how this season has been unfolding, but we will get to that. For everyone listening, thank you guys. We are live on Facebook, Twitter. Oh wait, hold on. Facebook, we should be calling it Meta soon because they changed their company name to Meta. So
Are you serious?
yeah, you didn't hear that?
No.
They legally changed their company name to Meta. So I don't know if we should start calling it Meta anytime soon, but we'll stick with Facebook for now. We are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, thank you for downloading our poll question, which is brought to you by none other than Manscaped. Because you know what? Football might be back again this week, but a wild and hairy bush should not. Make sure you tame your pubes with the help from our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in below the waist grooming. Their fourth generation performance package includes a brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Do right by your balls and join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com. Use the code A2D for 20% off. Our poll question: Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon should be fired after this season. Agree or disagree? We're going to get into that. We are also going to do a short little Eagles Raiders recap. We'll give our quick predictions and preview of the Eagles Lions game coming up. And then at 8:30, when the game comes on, we'll give some of our live reactions to the Thursday night football game too. Maybe dive into a little bit of what's going on around the NFL. We have an abbreviated show tonight. We have to jump off at 9:00, so we'll try to fit everything in. But as usual, we will go along with what you guys, the fam, the chat rooms, all have to say. We'll see where our conversation leads. But for now, let's get to the poll question. I'm going to kick it off because this one, it's a loaded question to me because the poll question is asking if both of them should be fired after this season. So both Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon. And because of that, I'm going to disagree. I don't think right now, based on what I've seen right now personally for me, and I know a lot of people are going to have a differing opinion. Based on what I see right now, I would disagree because I would be okay with maybe giving Gannon another year. But I think Sirianni, I would fire Sirianni. He's the one I would be completely
Dude, like the way me and you think alike, is ridiculous. 'Cause I'm like, we talked about it before. Like we talked about it. Like this is my thing with Gannon and the defense. So me and Chuck are hitting the nail right in the head. Like I agree. Like I feel like Sirianni should go. I'm not a believer in him, and I just feel like Gannon is he wants to see talent, and he wants to see who has it, and then in the system. And my thing is, I literally had this conversation with my mom earlier today. We went for lunch together, nice little Jamaican spot, and
Ooh, wait, Jamaican spot, is that the one in?
Had some curry.
Is that the one in like Washington Township?
No, I'm like an hour away from you. Well, 40 minutes away from you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But it's but nevertheless, I literally said like I explained like people are upset at the DC now and they want to see adjustments. And my thing is like this: adjustments for what? For who? For what? Like I'm not holding on to this season anymore. Like I don't expect them to win Sunday as it is. My thing is he wants to see who is going to be on this roster next year if he's still here. The reason why I feel like we may be tied into having to agree to the poll shots is because Sirianni and Gannon, they're attached. So Gannon is attached to him. You see what I'm saying? And that's true, the problem to where if Sirianni goes and the next coach comes in, I don't know if Gannon's going to make a strong enough effort to be able to stay, even though that I think that the stronger part of this draft in 2022 is on the defense. I think like,
that's a good point. I didn't,
see what I'm saying? So that's why like I feel like we almost pigeonholed the half to agree. But if we had our druthers, we would say Sirianni go, Gannon stay, or hell, make Gannon the head coach, and then let Steichen run the offense because you don't know what's going on. Like I don't need my dude talking about flowers, bro. That's all I'm saying. You can go. I'm sorry. I cut you off. Floor is yours.
All good. It's really funny because like you made a good point. I didn't think about that. So like, yeah, they're probably attached to him. So if Sirianni is going to be fired, most likely Gannon would go. So in that perspective, then yeah. But if I were just to go off of base, who would I keep if I would keep either or both? I would keep Gannon. I would be okay with keeping Gannon. And let me be clear, because I posted a whole thing on Monday because I was getting a little fed up because there's so many people that are putting most of the blame now on Gannon. They're playing, oh, he's the main reason this defense sucks and everything like that. And I was getting annoyed. I was like, all right, let's break this down. And a lot of the stuff that I said is the stuff that I said on Birds of a Feather. And let me make this clear. I'm not deflecting blame from Gannon. I think Gannon also has a lot of work to do. I think there are times when there are a lot of times where he is too soft, he's too predictable. So he's got to be more aggressive in his coverages at the second and third level. They play way too far back, and I definitely agree. I don't want people when I try to defend Gannon, I don't want people to think that I think he's doing a great job. I don't think he's doing a great job.
Right.
I think there are moments when his scheme and what he's doing are really good, but I think right now he definitely has his faults, and he definitely deserves a good amount of blame for what's going on with this defense. So I am in no way excusing him or deflecting blame from him. What I will say is that people need to understand this. Again, we say it every week, me and you. There is a different philosophy that this scheme has as opposed to what we had before. And you have to understand that Gannon's philosophy is to prevent big plays, to prevent explosive plays. So he's trying his best to do that. We play a lot of too high shell. So that's going to take away explosive plays. And that whenever defenses play too high shell, they're going to leave light numbers in the box and invite the run. So that's just why teams have been running on us and have been throwing dink and dunk on us and just matriculating down the field. And it gets people frustrated. And I totally understand that. Like, I totally get it. And I don't blame them for being upset because there are things that Gannon can do to mix up and try to offset that a little bit, even when he does play cover 2, and cover 4 and all these too high shells. So I totally understand that. But I think people need to also realize and also don't forget that the defensive players are playing really, really poorly too.
Yes.
All the missed tackles, all the poor angles, all the bad execution in zone where they're not squeezing and closing in on their zones quick enough. And let me keep reiterating, the safeties and the linebackers are horrendous right now. I mean, don't let the number of tackles that Alex Singleton gets deter you from the fact that Alex Singleton is pretty bad.
So real quick, like Jay Koch, appreciate you rocking with us. I see Brickman in here hosting Sports Hounds, and also now Rant Booth on Saturdays with Coyle, Mondays with Brad Ryer. Jay can here chiming in. You'll see him tomorrow on Fan Friday. But just for what? I don't get me wrong. We want watchable football. I get it, but at the same time, you can't kid yourself because, like Brickman said, to a point, drive everything off the bus off the bridge of Walt Whitman because they need to somewhat start from scratch. Dan Orlovsky said it best on Tapehead. Shout out to Dan Orlovsky, Scott Pioli, and thank you for Chuck for putting me on.
That's
Pretty
great.
much,
That's a
listen,
great podcast.
This roster is somewhat talented, but not talented, and it's loaded with older players that are over bloated contracts.
Yeah.
You need to blow it up. So hence why this is my feeling. Like I literally said what I want to happen. This is probably gonna make me public enemy number 2. I'll never be public enemy number 1 as long as Tom is on this platform. He wears that hat very, very well, loud and proud. I want Dallas to win the Super Bowl. And I don't want us to win another game because that's the only way that Jeffrey Lurie is going to be able to be forced into a corner to have to take a hard look at himself and say, listen, I need to seriously make changes. I need to reevaluate how I did this. When they won the Super Bowl in 2018, it was 3 people. It was Howie, it was Doug, and it was Jeff. And really, Doug kind of deserved most of the credit. They say Howie put all the buttons, but Doug had to do the coaching from game to game, especially after losing his MVP caliber quarterback. Doug should get most of the credit. Obviously, Jeffrey and Howie thought that they deserved more credit than Doug, hence why Doug is not here. Doug wasn't fired. Doug resigned. He just resigned in his own way. That's what I'm saying. Now, you get some fan that's going to say, distribute to the pool. What's up, Chrome? Best of luck to you, man. We praying for you. We hope to see you back here on screen with us soon at some point. But we see that this team has fallen from grace so far, and it's for all the wrong reasons. Because you have a coach, and you have a GM and an owner who I will say it right now. People don't want to give just due to just due. Stephen Jones wrestled away the Dallas Cowboys' day-to-day operations from his father. And that was the best thing that ever happened to him. You go back to the last 5 or 6 drafts for Dallas. Dallas has hit on way more picks. And the reason, if you really think about it, Chuck, when's the last time Dallas signed a big name free agent?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of one. But
They haven't fucking needed to because they draft well. They draft well.
Yeah.
They have young players on cheap contracts who are making key impacts on their team.
Absolutely.
We cannot say the same.
So before we get into that, because I do want to, because Jay Koch and Brickman, they're pretty much on the same. They're annihilating Gannon. What his Jay Koch's comment here? I'd rather get burned deep than get embarrassed on 15 play drives. No, like I'm sorry. I'm like I love you. I love your support and your comment on here, but that's not today's game. That we got burnt so many times with big plays in Jim Schwartz's defense. How did that work out for us? In today's NFL, explosive plays, big plays like that are what impact the game the most. Explosive plays and turnovers impact the game the most. Why do you think so many teams are playing cover 2 and cover 4 and cover 6? Because they want to take away explosive plays. Look at what defenses are doing to the Kansas City Chiefs. What they've been doing. They try their best to take away deep plays because they know that's how the Chiefs win. That's how the Chiefs get back into the games. All it takes is one big play for a team to get back into a game, for a team to swing momentum. One
That
big
Baltimore
play.
Cincinnati game was
So-
tight until Jamar Chase did what he did.
Exactly. Today's NFL is about takeaways and big plays. That is why you're seeing. Go look at how many defenses in the league play this scheme. They play cover 2, cover 4, 2 high shells. They just do. The difference is their defenses are more talented, and their defensive coaches. Yes, they're better. They make better adjustments right now than Gannon is. So I'm not letting Gannon off the hook. He has to be more aggressive at times, and he has to have his linebackers be more aggressive at the line of scrimmage and be less predictable. Absolutely. Absolutely. But all like Brigman and Jay here who think that Gannon needs to go. I want everyone to calm down and just realize that this defense doesn't have much talent outside of who
And the talent
who
you do
on
have
this
talks about
defense.
it's not his job to stop screens. It's his job to get sacks, and he ain't doing that shit either.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. And I get what Cox was saying, the point he was trying to make,
To a
because
point,
there
yeah.
was one point, there was one play, and I saw it, and it was pretty dumb play where his assignment wasn't to pressure the quarterback. He was spying the running back. And
Right.
so like I get that. That's not using your talent the best way. And that's another area where Gannon needs to improve. He needs to do better in that area. But I've seen also way too many good things that Gannon has done with this defense, who lacks talent, that I'm like, okay, I'd be okay with giving him another year or giving him more time. Chrome here, his comment that he made was he disagrees because he doesn't believe in firing a coach after a season, even if it is spotty at first. Once you make your bed with coach, you give it 2 years. And I'm assuming he's talking about both of them. So even though we disagree, like I've kind of seen, I'm kind of like really, really frustrated and angry with Sirianni and his lack of running, like run designs and stuff like that. So like I'm more eager to let Sirianni go, but his premise about Gannon, like when it comes to Gannon, is spot on. Like there are good things Gannon has done that people don't want to acknowledge because they see. I feel like my last point here when it comes to Gannon and the scheme before I hand it over to you is that I feel like if a defense isn't completely shutting down an offense,
It's always going to happen.
that they're always going to complain. They believe that the defense has to be like near perfect the whole game for the defense to be considered really good. That's not the case. Like a defense is going to get beat at some points in the game. That's just how it is. There is no such thing as a perfect defense. If there was a such thing as a perfect defensive scheme, every defensive coach would call that scheme. That's not how it works. The other side of the people at the on offense get paid as well. So you have to consider the philosophy that they're taking. The fact that this type of defense that's trying to limit big plays has to put up with an offense that consistently goes 3 and out for the first 3 quarters isn't good. That's not good at all, because now you're putting your defense on the field for how long?
Yeah.
I saw a stat on Twitter where it said that the Eagles defense has been on the field for, I think they rank near the top in terms of percentage of total snaps that they're on the field for compared to the offense. That's really bad because the offense they're not maintaining any possessions. They don't have. Look, we're near dead last in time of possession. So you have to compartmentalize and realize what this scheme is trying to do. And even though it's not perfect, there are signs of okay, like I really, really like that. Signs of greatness in this scheme. You kind of have to get the pieces. And with what you've been alluding to, with the draft coming up, if we don't use those assets to get a quarterback, then you got to go defense. And imagine like if we do go defense, how much better that side of the ball will be in terms of talent. So that's why like I think it's so silly that people are so quick right now to point the finger at Gannon and say he's the biggest problem or he's the real issue. He is part of the issue, but if I'm going to blame, if I'm going to rank him, he's below Howie Roseman, he's below Jeffrey Lurie, he's below Sirianni, he's below Hurts. Like I am pointing the finger at them before I point the finger at Gannon.
So, real quick, a couple things that I just want to rattle off. To Chrome's point, I'll give you two fucking things, and I love you, buddy. You my ginger brother. If Cleveland and Arizona don't move off from 1 year coaches, they're not in the fucking positions that they're in right now. Straight up and down. Cleveland had a chance. They played in the divisional round of the playoffs last year. They moved on from Freddie Kitchens and signed Kevin Stefanski, right? Arizona Cardinals, the last fucking undefeated team in football. They moved on from Steve Wilkes, hired Cliff Kingsbury, and got Cliff Kingsbury his quarterback. So if you know a guy, if you have it aligned right, you can do it. Another thing, to all the people that want to kill Gannon and agree to this poll, listen, my thing is this, Chucks, real quick. Lord Walker's headed to the Cardinals game membership. Thank you, brother. Says the only good football team I get to see is not my Eagles. That is true. That is true. I'm sorry about that, but it is what it is. Kayvon Kellum not making an excuse for the defense, but they're on the field too long and too tired. That's my point, Kayvon. Yep. To all the people who are on the other side of this argument, what the fuck is he going to be aggressive for? For Sirianni just to do bullshit on offense and be back out on the field again? What? See, this is the problem, right? Everything you just talked about, Chucks, is spot on, but what the difference is your eyes. When you see it and you see the gaping holes, but guess what? The scheme that Gannon runs is the zone, right? He runs zone schemes. You can see cover 3, cover 4. They call it quarters. That shit conceptually has been around in the NFL for years. So every OC knows where the holes are going to be. So the closing speed, would you like to see closing speed better? Would you like to see better discipline for players within their zones? Yes, but what does that take? That takes fucking talent, and that takes coaching up. We don't have that. So when you see it play out on Sunday, when you really don't have nothing else because you only get 17 of these games now, you know what I mean? Yes, you're going to put all the weight on that, but the thing is, it's yin and it's a yang to this shit. It's balance. Everything has balance. Everything has push and pull. If Gannon pushed, Sirianni's not going to be able to push back because of the inefficiency of the offense. That's the thing we're not realizing. It just looks so bad. But listen, I looked at it going into this matchup fantasy-wise, even though Detroit doesn't have any stud wide receivers, but against any wide receivers against our secondary, we're only giving up 227 passing yards per game. That's it. They're there. If I'm not mistaken, I was watching the game Sunday, and I think they said we had the 14th or 15th overall ranked defense coming into the league, coming into that game. Right in the middle of the fucking pack. That's without any talent because conceptually at its base, this scheme is somewhat good and successful. And like Chuck, you hit the nail on the head so well. In this game, in this era of football, if your defense is giving up 24, 27 points a game, you should be able to put up 28 or more. That's how you win football games now. You're no longer going to win football games 20-13, 17-13. Like we saw last Thursday when we were on. We saw Cleveland and Denver. I think that game was 21-14 or 17-14, some shit like that, if I'm not mistaken, or 21-17 or something like that. Those games are very few and far between. You know what I mean? Because they both had a lot of offensive skill players out. Why do you think offensive skill players get drafted ahead of better defensive players now? Because that's where the bread is buttered at. It's not buttered on the defensive side. So Gannon has to make do with what he has to make do with. Anybody who wants to get rid of Gannon and not get rid of Sirianni, and Sirianni has a much better side of the ball, talent-wise, and a better hand that he was dealt than what Gannon was, is fucking clueless. It's clueless. You're just refusing to open up your eyes and be honest with yourself. Like, listen, this dude is not a head coach. I hear Crone's point. You don't get rid of a guy for 1 year, but this is what it's going to take. This organization, and you may call me foolish for thinking this, needs to be changed on a foundational level in its values. They need to go back. Lurie needs to go back to the drawing board overall because Bryce said it. When I talked about the Dallas point and look at their drafts, you look at our drafts. It's not who do we hit on, who do we miss on. It's the complete opposite. Who we could have had, not who we did have or who we should have had. These players, and I can understand in certain situations like Dalvin Cook got drafted before us and we took Sidney Jones. That's different. We're talking about the players that we passed on. And then for cute ass reasons, for stupid shit, when they overthink it, when they're 4 or 5 star recruits and they play in the SEC and they show a pedigree in college, just draft the player and see what he could do. Just get talent. No, we want to get cute. We want to think it. We want to overthink it. We want to take Umbrella Boy to be a blocker in special teams. That's his best contribution. You feel what I'm saying? When we could have had DK. It's just so many different things. And to be honest with you, this is why I say I'm over it. This needs to be, remember the game for Plump. If y'all old enough, remember the game with the marbles and sticks, right? When you get to the certain end, you pull that last stick out, all the fucking marbles fell. This is that season. This is that season for us because trust me, guys, I don't think it's going to get any better. And it's one thing to lose to Kansas City. It's one thing to lose to the Raiders. It's one thing to lose to Tampa Bay. They lose Sunday to a team that is a winless record. And if you go watch the games, and this is why some people, I'm picking Detroit to win straight up on the money line. I don't need no fucking spread because you know why? Dan Campbell's motivated. That team has been playing better. Who's their running backs coach?
Deuce.
You think them boys and you think Swift and them ain't gonna be up to play that game? And for right, wrong, or indifferent. And we talked about Fletcher. That wasn't his assignment on that play, but the frustration is starting to fester. The frustration is starting to come out. You're starting to hear it in their voice. And he says, I don't get paid to stop screens. I get paid to get sacks. So when you start to lose leaders like that, and you don't have BG to kind of rail it in, and what is play on the field and off the field talk, it's just going to spiral. It's going to spiral out of control. It's going to spiral out of control, and just be prepared. But you should. I understand. Once again, you want to have watchable football. I get it, but if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. It's a fucking duck, bro.
It's really bad because, like, we've gotten to a point where I'm starting to wonder. You know, one of the poll question I was going to ask before I did this was which season has been more painful, this year or last year? I still answer last year, but it's close.
Last year because I feel like we had more talent, especially at the quarterback position.
Yeah, because
I feel like we underachieved last year.
Last year we expect, me and you, I think we were considering like Eagles should be division favorites, and I think it's painful because they were so far the opposite of that. And then also we saw our franchise QB, or who was supposed to be our franchise QB, who was supposed to be a top 10 QB in this league, play like the 35th worst QB in this league. But the 35th best.
And the rest of the division was so down. It was winnable.
Exactly. So I think that was more painful, but it's prepared us because I think me and you have seen that this is such a transition year, and the fact that it's not about wins and losses, it's about figuring out what you have. And right now, what we have is a coach who I like. He won me over in terms of I like his energy, I like his charisma, I like how he preaches about, and when he talks. He's a football nerd. You can tell like he really like loves the game, loves the X's and O's, and I believe when he says he has his core principles, and I think that's good. I think he has a vision and a set standard. In those terms, he's won me over. Where he's lost me already is play calling on the field and not learning from week to week how to just put your players in the right position. I don't for the life of me, I don't understand, like, for week 1 against the Falcons, and then for the first drive against the Raiders game, you had what the Eagles offense should look like.
Yep.
That
on a consistent
week
basis.
1 and the first possession are what they should look like every single game. Under center, run the ball, a lot of different and various type of run designs. Use your running backs. Use play action. That's how this offense should look.
Yeah.
But then Sanders gets hurt, and then they go right back to what they were outside of that. They go back to shotgun. They go back to zone reads, RPOs, and pass. Why? Just because I love Sanders, and I'm glad they made their focus and their game plan was to highlight Sanders, right? That was their game plan. And I'm glad that it was. But when one guy goes out, you can't just completely abandon everything like that. It's frustrating because even if you don't believe that Gainwell is as talented as a runner as Sanders, and he's not. I think it was pretty evident so far that he's not the runner that Sanders is. You still have to at least somewhat stick to your game plan. Mm-hmm. Why are you abandoning under center plays so much? Like that pass, that play action pass on that first possession to Goddard, that was a thing of beauty. That was one of the
yarder or something like that.
Yeah, that was one of the best throws I've seen in weeks from him. That was a good. It was
a rhythm throw.
Yeah, play action. Fake the Sanders. Stay in the pocket, get on your hitch, and then throw. And he threw it in a small window. Great accuracy, great touch, great anticipation. That's what this offense should be. But it's like, for the life of me, I don't understand why everything has to be in shotgun. Everything has to be in shotgun.
And that's
not what this offense is.
And to be honest with you, Chucks, I'm so shocked at how. And we talk about this regime. When I mean this regime, I'm talking about the two-headed monster being Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, right? We always see them overcorrect to the point where they go to an extreme, right? So we had Andy 10 years, 12 years, kind of wore out his welcome. They try to be so innovative and they go with Chip, right? So then they go with Chip, doesn't work. Then they want to go to somebody more seasoned, right? And Chip brought in all his own guys, right? So what we had, so the next coach, they kind of supplied, they gave Doug a list, right? These are the short list of coordinators, right? So they kind of wanted to have more control. When Doug asked for more control, they didn't give it to him. So then what do we have now? Well, if you look at Doug's staff, yes, he didn't have the experience, but everyone around him already had either head coaching experience or coordinator experience or playing in the league experience, right? So then we hire Sirianni, who just came out of nowhere, right? And they just let this guy bring in everybody that's fresh. I am so shocked that Roseman and Lurie was okay with this guy not having any senior advisors. There's no advisors, assistants, whatever you want to call it. That's what Sirianni needs. Sirianni needs a coach that's been there or an advisor to say, listen, you can't. I understand what your core principles is, but when you get in front of that camera and you got to say certain things to these guys, you can't say shit like that. Like, you're not doing yourself no favors by speaking like that. And then you become the laughing stock. I heard listening to the dial a little bit this week that this is almost like when Gabe was talking with the Phillies and he was kind of trying to be smarter than everybody else and everything else like that, where you just kind of felt like Gabe was just talking down to you, where Sirianni is doing this shit. And it's you really look at this dude like, are you this dumb? Are you this clueless? Are you this out of touch with everything that goes? And it goes into the call. It's 4th and 3 and it's 3rd and 15. You could decline the penalty, get off the field, get the ball back at a decent spot. You got that rhythm because then you just scored. You're up 7-0. There's something called momentum. He declines it, and what happens? Obviously, they still get the Maddox interception, but the momentum, the game has shifted at that point. You know what I mean? And he says in his press conference, my chart said you would have went for it for 4th and 3. That's your chart, bitch. You are a head coach. You got an interim head coach on the other sideline, Rich Bisaccia, who's a special teams coach. You actually got more experience than this dude doing this shit. And you play right into their hands. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, I get like I don't want to have to move on from a coach after the first year. But as we sit here and we say, this was Jalen Hurts' trial, this was Jalen Hurts' thing, this was also Sirianni's trial. And this is what I'm saying. Like, Lurie hasn't been, as an owner, I mean, kind of 95, 96, but it's been a long ass time before this team has been this consistently bad, and we haven't seen growth consistently through 7 games. Through 7 games, you have not seen anything that you can hang your hat on that you would consider to be consistent growth at all. There's not. I don't think there's. Maybe Mailata. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, Chucks. Dillard has been the most pleasant surprise all year. Dillard and Quez. Because I can't even give it to Quez because you know what? I don't have a quarterback that can get it to him consistently. You see what I'm saying?
And then like you see the touchdown to Reagor, so it's like, okay, that was a sick grab. That was a sick play. How many of those does Reagor have in him? But we can't determine if he does because we don't have a quarterback to feed them the ball. Like
they need to go to Oklahoma, bro, and he needs to fly to Oklahoma, get it Lincoln Riley. Here's a fucking blank check. If they want this kid Hurts to have another season, and they really want to try to give him his best effort, and then for the fans out there who want to see him succeed and truly succeed, they need to go. Especially in this 2022 draft, it's going to be easier to replace your coach than to find another franchise QB who I personally think may be better than Hurts. You feel what I'm saying? I don't see that in this draft, and that's saying something. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you need to go. Sipas has been consistent. Yes,
he's been great.
He's been great. You need to fly to Norman, Oklahoma. Bring Jim Ross from AEW, Boomer Sooner alumni, and fucking try to get Lincoln Riley. That's the only thing I could think of, bro. That's going to be the quickest route because your defense, I'm telling you people, if they keep Gannon or whatever, the defense and that scheme, it just needs more players. You need more. I would say this: you need more talent on defense than you need it on offense. You need to replenish talent, and you need talent on offense to stay healthy because it's aging, especially the offensive line. But we can see kind of the parallels in the window if Orlando Dickinson can pay off. You see if Mailata can pay off. You see it if Dillard can pay off. You can say Amount was hurt, and maybe you need to plug a center in. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don, listen, bro. I wish you could hop on right now because I think your team gonna win, bro.
Yeah.
Don, long-time fan supporter, A2D, Detroit sports fan. Yeah, man, I think y'all can get your first W, and I want y'all to get your first W, bro.
I think Detroit wins. I before we move on, it's so difficult because there are a lot of ways we can go with this. A lot like this offseason, I've been thinking back and forth, but this defense needs like they need upgrades almost everywhere. Almost like corner, I think we have Slay, but he's aging, so we still could use young stud corner. In the slot we have Maddox, and that's fine. We need safeties. We need linebackers. And we need another edge because Sweat can't do him on by himself on the outside. Exactly. Derek Barnett, I can't wait till he leaves. For years, people have told me Barnett's really good. I'm telling you, Barnett's really good. He's really, really good. I haven't seen any of that. I haven't seen any of that. Would tell me in the last several years where Barnett has been really good. He has. I can't wait till he's off the team. He has more personal fouls in his career than he does highlight fouls.
He's a knucklehead, bro.
Knucklehead.
Thank
you for the fumble recovery in the Super Bowl. Get out of here.
Listen, I don't know what this is. Maybe when I play sports, a lot of things that I do, and I'm very successful in the shit that I do. Very good at bowling. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not talking. People can laugh at these at very high pressure environments, right? And I've always been like that. When I played baseball, when I played high school football, played on the biggest stage. I'm not into sentimental shit like that. Super Bowl 2018, I love it. BG with the fumble, Derek Barnett with the sack, with the fumble recovery, and BG with the strip sack. I love it. That doesn't warrant this dude to still be here. For me to praise this dude. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not with that. I'm on the Belichick type of mindset to where we got one, let's go get another. How do we get another? How do we keep improving? And what happened in 2018 was this is what they did, bro. They won the Super Bowl day after the parade on Broad Street. Howie and Jeffy did this shit. They kicked their feet up. And they thought the shit was going to happen again. How many times you see a team when it's shit? Look at Kansas City.
Yeah.
Look at Kansas. Look at the Chiefs right now. It's literally legit people thinking that the Giants may beat Kansas City straight up.
I know.
On Monday Night Football. And to be honest with you, bro, Andy's last year here was what, 2012, 2013?
2012.
So, and then he got hired by Kansas City like 2 days later, 5 days later, something like that. We get into that 9-10 year mark, bro. You know what I mean? You get into that 9 to 10 year mark to where, for whatever reason, shit just starts to burn out. I don't know what it is. I'm not wishing that upon them. But look, you see the same shit in Pittsburgh. There's rumblings now. This game on Sunday between Cleveland and Pittsburgh means so much because it's two teams kind of somewhat headed in different directions, right? Cleveland needs to make a decision. They're going to keep Baker long term, pay this dude over $30 million. Ben Roethlisberger's not right on the wall. Like, let's talk about Tomlin getting another job. If Tomlin get fired, you first thing smoking, bitch. You bring in the Philly. I drop everything to have Tomlin as the coach because it's defense and natural.
I'd be good with. I would be okay. I'm one of the people that think. Oh God.
Like, what do you like? We talked about it before. What is easier? What's the easier infrastructure for you, Coach? For you, Chucks, having a defensive coach, right? Is that AJ Green?
No, that was Hopkins. But there's a flag. I don't know what it is.
You have a defensive minded coach, right? Who can run the defense. And then I feel like a defensive minded coach, and who has an offensive coordinator who's really good. That offensive coordinator pretty much really has full autonomy in most cases. Yeah. Where I don't think it's vice versa because you already heard Sirianni came out publicly and said that I wish our defense was more aggressive. Like, you say that shit publicly, bro?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man.
I to me, I don't have a preference either or because I think you can win with either, like either defensive or. They called on Hopkins. That was a really weak call. I don't know why they called that. Corner, I don't know what the corner was doing. But yeah, they called face mask on Hopkins. That would have been I can see, I guess, yeah. I didn't. But how
he supposed to? If he let him go, is he supposed to hold it? Like, if you look at my hand, right? Is he supposed to do this while the dude is still holding his wrist? Like, he's holding his arm.
I think because he grasped the face mask like this, like he literally gripped it. So I think that's why they called it. But I don't know. But I don't have a preference. Like, I wanted Robert Saleh. But remember, I wanted Saleh. So I don't have a preference to defensive or offensive. It all depends.
You just want the best guy
on the coach. Yeah, I just depends on the guy. And obviously, like, if you're gonna get a defensive guy, I'm focusing on the offensive coordinator and the scheme that that they're going to run. I love that Shanahan outside zone scheme, but that's a part of the reason also why I wanted, because I knew that he would bring what's his name over here, LaFleur. So it's I don't know. It's kind of sucks that we have still more than half the season to go because I'm already excited for the offseason to see where it's going to go. I do think it's possible. Real quick before we move on, because we got 15 minutes left. Scale 1 to 10, 1 being impossible, 10 being a guarantee. How possible do you think that Howie Roseman will be fired if the season continues to be this bad. I think if it continues to be this bad, I think it's a 7. I think it's
I was going to say 6. Okay,
so we're kind of in the same area.
Because, but that's what I'm saying. Like people, we saw the reports that it's coming out like Howie's job is not in danger. They're much more looking at to see it, to invest in the QB. But we know Lurie is a competitive guy, right? His belly was full after 2018. All right, and now if he takes a hard look at himself and plays some Michael Jackson man in the mirror bitch by himself, sitting in one of his upteen houses late at night with a glass of scotch or some shit, he ultimately has to say so, and he has to look at that's why I predicate this. Like I said, Dallas's success and how far the Eagles are away. Like it's one thing if we had 2016, right? Dallas went in that run. I think they went 13-3 or 12-4. They had a first round bye. They got out in the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen this year. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No other team. They haven't been this bad and had a team be that good in the same year. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hear you. Well, I mean, we'll see.
To answer Nick's question right here, though.
It's hard
this
to
question real quick.
Yeah. Let's see. Is this a test of Hurts actually a test of Howie by Lurie? I think it could be. And what's gotten me considering that maybe it could be touchdown. Who is that?
Hurts?
No, 2. Who's number 2?
Rondell Moore?
Oh, Chase. Chase.
Edmonds?
Yeah. I think it was Les Bone on Twitter made a point that Lurie fired his close friend, what's his name? Years ago. Joe Bannon. Close friends. He fired him. And so he's willing to fire people if that's what need be. And I think with how messed up and how bad things have gone, I'm kind of maybe this is me being too generous to Lurie, giving him too much credit, but I think he would be willing to fire Howie if things are this bad. Now, if they start winning some games toward the end of the year, then no, I think Howie can do the job.
That's why I said you need it to be. They don't need to win another game. If fans out there, I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe we can get some people on this train, on this wagon. Hitch to this wagon. If you truly want Howie to be gone, you have to suck it the fuck up. And I'm not saying root against your team, but be honest with yourself and what's best long term for this team. Is for Lurie to move the fuck on. And to answer Nick's question real quick, you ain't got to put it back on the screen. I think it's more on Howie because Howie is the one who put Hurts in this position. He drafted him. Like if you really take a hands-off approach, right, Chucks? Every other coach, Andy, Chip, Doug, and Howie was present, right? You can always kind of draw a opposite side argument that Howie it was out of his control. This is the first time with this coach, and it's been this bad, that everybody here, Howie is completely fucking responsible.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Because Lurie not gonna blame himself at the end of the day because he the one who's signing the checks. He can't do that for himself. He can do it internally, but publicly, he can't make himself the scapegoat, right?
I guess not. But we'll have to see. I mean, we're still ways out from finding out. I mean, NX 750 Gaming says Banner tweeted, "There's no way Howie gets fired this season. Like he knows what dirt Howie has on Jeff." I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
There's another Howie out there, Jeff. There's another Howie out there, Lurie. How Howie, whatever he did, how he enamored you, how he captivated you all these years. For somebody and this is the thing that with Lurie, he's so progressive thinking that I'm surprised he already hasn't caught on to that. And you kind of had it. You had it with Andrew Berry.
Yeah.
And you just didn't. I don't know.
I don't know. It's really upsetting.
It's perplexing, bro.
It's
Like
perplexing.
how he could retire from the Eagles. Like you know how you put 25 years in and you go and get your pension. Like how we can do like he's close to doing that shit. Like I've never seen that.
Yeah.
You tell me any other professional sports organization outside of an owner, a high level executive that has been with a team where they can say, I got 20 plus years in.
Yeah.
Not talking about a coordinator. I'm not talking about a position coach. I'm not talking about none of that shit. I'm talking about high level executive that has been with a team for 20 plus years. Even more than I'll probably find some every once in a while at 15 plus, but more than 20 plus years. I can't think of any.
I can't think of any.
In the last 50 years, I can't think of any.
I can't. I really can't. All right, so we got 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Let's rapid fire. Let's no huddle this Biash. Do you have any quick hitters before we head out, before we call it a night?
This is not sports related at all. But
Okay,
listen.
yeah, that's fine. There's no huddle.
Haha, you can't cancel Dave Chappelle. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh God, I haven't watched it yet.
Good try. I mean, they tried and they keep trying. When you got Fox News supporting you, bro, you're not going nowhere. You're not canceled.
I can't.
No.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if I have any. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I did want to say this. Yeah, I did want to say this. Don says I can cancel Chuck's for his Thor Ragnarok take, bro. I wasn't the only one that said it. Pete agreed with me, so I don't know why you're just
like I'm sitting here like most Marvel movies, bro. I watched like 2 or 3 times. I watched that shit once, and I felt like I didn't need to watch it again.
Yeah, like again, you can be mad the fact that I said it's overrated, but I never said it was bad.
Right.
I just said it's overrated because there's no way in hell it's a top 5 MCU film.
Do you want to, after you make your point, do you want to get in what you sent us last night, that article, and we'll close it out with that?
Oh, so MCU, if we're going to keep it with MCU, like, so I don't know if any listeners have been following along. Eternals has been getting hammered as one of the worst MCU films there is. And there's an article by Screen Rant that I read, and I don't, again, like these articles by comicbookresearch.com and Screen Rant, sometimes they're ridiculous. I don't like them, but every once in a while there's an article that makes a lot of sense. This one, to me, perfectly articulated what I've been kind of alluding to, but just articulated in a better way. The MCU, with some of its films, a lot of its films has this formula of storytelling, and it's gotten predictable and it's gotten repetitive. And apparently in Hollywood, a lot of filmmakers have been calling it out and saying like, "Hey, like this is a problem. It's old. It's broken. Like you gotta mix it up. You gotta
freshen it up.
You gotta freshen it up." But with some MCU films like The Eternals, they stick to this formula. And I've said I love the MCU, but it ain't all sunshine and rainbows with MCU. There are flaws that MCU has.
Would you call Chloe Zhao like the most highly acclaimed or highly regarded director that they've had?
Probably.
Because I mean, she is an Academy Award winner.
Yeah. Looking at the resume, probably, and the fact that she was even limited what she could do, like. That's bad.
Especially with that cast, bro. That cast.
That's a bomb cast, and you couldn't branch your storytelling out like a different way. So I think that MCU has something great with, because like the characters that are already established, they're gonna keep on going, and that's great. But with some of these films that are like introducing new characters and everything like that, they've got to mix it up. They've got to do better and freshen some stuff up. So
they're gonna have to bring Steve Rogers back, bitch.
you know what I was thinking? I was like, because if you think about it, like, all right, so the MCU right now, they are trying to make everything even more grand, even bigger, right?
Yep.
Bigger scale, and rightfully so. Like you have to, even after you have something like Infinity Wars and Endgame, like you have to keep going and make it bigger. You think about like the threats that these heroes have now, these characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have Loki, his the villain in Loki, and what is it, the time whatever, I forget, and then
You talking about the Time Corp?
yeah, and then now how like they're setting off different universes, right, different timelines.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, right? That's insane. So, and you even had like when they were there, like they had like little infinity stones as like paperweights, right? They're like, oh, we don't care, like, yeah, we have like 1 million of these. So everything is grander. So like Thanos is like, compared to them, Thanos is like insignificant.
Yeah.
It kind of bothers me, the fact that your two biggest heroes and characters and people in your MCU, and Iron Man and Captain America, it feels kind of wrong that they're not involved in these storylines. I don't know if anyone else feels the same. Like, it feels like these storylines could be amazing with them in it, and it feels kind of like you're like, if you're looking, like, if you take a step back and you look at what the big picture should be of where the MCU is headed now, it's like Captain America and Iron Man were only part of like a little bit of this universe.
And
you know what I'm saying?
A great analogy to that is MCU banked on fans being attracted to the universe itself.
Yeah.
And what happened is we got attached to the characters.
Yeah.
And now that those characters aren't there,
it's like
you can't. It's hard. It's hard to build them back up. And you need to make new people. And really, honestly, before all this shit, no, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 should have came out before all this shit.
Yeah.
Or Doctor Strange 2 should have came out before Eternals. All that because you already had them established. They already had their first, and then you kind of where these people went, and then you just almost, and Eternals is in a bad spot because of the fact of what you got at the end of the year.
Yeah,
everybody's going to be watching this, waiting for No Way Home.
Yeah,
we just want to get there. Fast forward to December.
Exactly. Yeah, it just feels not. And again, I'm not bashing like their direction. It's the opposite. I love the direction they're going in. I love how everything's bigger, and like, because they have to. They have to find a way to top what they've already done, which is a tall order. But so far, they've been doing it right. It's just that as a fan, like, I'm watching it, and it's just like, it feels kind of weird not having them. And it's also like I'm trying to. It's a double-edged sword, and I'm trying to have my cake and eat it too, because I love the ending of Captain America's story. And Iron Man's, both of them. Mm-hmm. Like, their storylines and how it ended it was perfect. It was a perfect beginning, middle, and end for both of those characters. I love that Iron Man ended up giving himself and sacrificing himself to, for the whole universe, when in the beginning he was selfish. And I love how it was the complete opposite for Captain America. Steve Rogers was always about giving for others, but at the end he finally was able to take for himself and have a happy ending with Peggy. So, like, those are amazing stories. Amazing stories. It's just odd that everything now, that like all these characters are facing even bigger threats and bigger.
And they're not there. The proven vet is not there. And Don says, but for Doctor Strange 2 to happen, they needed WandaVision to happen first. I'm cool with the series. I don't think we're talking about the Disney Plus series, but we're talking about what movies they decided to make into movies and bring out on the big screen. And the Eternals is just it's such a different vibe from what they've been doing. It's just hard. And then, like you said, they didn't let like the article you sent. I was reading. I was like, they didn't let Chloe put her. People were waiting for that. See that Chloe Zhao stamp, that Chloe Zhao type of cinematography, that Chloe Zhao type of directing, that type, and they never saw it because the governor was on. You feel what I'm saying? Like you buy a Ferrari, you want to go 200 miles an hour, but they got that bitch chip set to 150. And that's kind of what MC, because they want to keep it so continuous. They want to keep it to their game book, their playbook. Yeah. And I would just say this. I know DC has a very, 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 very tough road to climb. But if all these bitches hit.
And see, this is before we go, this is what I'm talking about, where DC doesn't have to be MCU and they can still have success. Because they don't have to have a unified universe where the continuity is there. They don't have to match that. They can still just make separate movies and tell different stories, and none of them be connected, but still be great by just making good movies. And the good thing about them not being tied down to a continuity is that they have the freedom to branch out and tell different stories and not stick to a certain formula.
I will go on record right now, Chucks, and say something. Suicide Squad was better than Black Widow. Fuck at me.
Oh, that's not even like that's absolutely true. Any objective fan will admit that. We'll say that. It was better. It was better. Black Widow was.
Nick Sirianni's pink highlighter says anyone's getting jealous of watching a real offense like Arizona play. I mean, I think it's two real offenses. I mean, definitely two better quarterbacks. Just watching a true quarterback at an above average elite level.
Let's see what Aaron Rodgers can do when he doesn't have his top three wide receivers. And if this game is close, that is amazing. That would be amazing work by Aaron Rodgers. Like even if they lose, if this game is high scoring and it's close, Aaron Rodgers deserves like a pat on the back. He deserves something. Like that's amazing. But yeah. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Nah, man. Enjoy the conversation, and even though it may be melancholy, but go Birds, man. I mean, I want to see them do well. I want them to have a hard fight, a hard fought loss or something. I'm looking at the bigger picture, people.
Yeah, I want to see the right players and right, I want to see them develop. So I still would love to see our wide receivers make plays. Love to see Gainwell continue to develop. I want to see what he does with increased touches. That's what I'm looking for, because he was like hit and miss with his. He only had 5 carries, but had like 2 of them. I'm like, it wasn't really that good.
You can't run an off tackle with him. They're gonna have to do some type of get creative, get him on some jet sweeps, things of that nature to get the ball in space in his hands. And hell, don't be afraid to use Jalen Reagor out of the backfield.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta get creative.
All right, fam. Well, if you're still sticking with us, thank you so much for staying with us. We're sorry we have to leave early tonight, but we got to call it early night. But definitely watch either the rest of the Sixers game if you want. Apparently that's really bad. Or continue watching this Thursday night football game, Packers and Cardinals. It's close so far. Packers about to attempt a 4th and 1, see if they convert. But thank you for sticking with us. Again, we are brought to you by FanUp. Make sure you sign on A2D Pro. Use the promo code A2D. We're also brought to you by Manscaped. Use the promo code again A2D to get 20% off. Brought to you by our doc Paul Vidal, a specialized physical therapy, and by All Campus. Get 20% off everything for your boy Chucks and your boy Pete. Thank you. God bless. Be safe. Go Birds. Fly Eagles. Fly. Peace out.